I entered Henry's office again. He was wearing gold-rimmed glasses, head down, typing away, not even glancing at me. I tilted his chin up, stared into his beautiful eyes, and said, "Heard it's tough having a subordinate like me? You even cried. Stop fooling around." Henry moved my hand away, yet still didn't look me in the eye. A blush crept onto his face, making my heart tingle. When the hell is this lousy workday gonna end? I leaned against the edge of the desk and then sat down, asking, "What, you mad? This is the first time for me. I can't take another round of your torture." I tried hard not to smile, saying, "Who said there'd be a second time? I bought some medicine. Let me apply it for you." Henry snatched the bag from my hand in an instant. "You can leave now. I'll do it myself." His ears were so red they seemed about to drip blood, yet he still had that air of being unapproachable. So damn alluring. "Fine, I'm leaving right away." "Wait." Henry grabbed my hand. "What, can't bear to part with me?" His eyes dropped, looking reluctant. "I'm afraid I'll get a notice later to fire you." "Don't worry. I said I want to meet you in a different capacity." I cupped his face and gently kissed his brow. The moment I stepped out, I heard Henry lock the door behind me. "Is it really necessary to be so on guard against me? You were just worried that I'd get fired." "It's all my fault. I didn't control my strength well." As I was walking down the corridor, the team leader, Lucas, blocked my way. He stood on tiptoe and grabbed my collar. "James, don't push your luck. Just because you have some money in your family doesn't mean you're all that. Let go." I glared at him viciously. "I really hate it when people touch me." Lucas backed down. How can you be so arrogant?" I put my hands in my pockets. "What did I do to you? You hit a client in public, got our project department in trouble, and ruined our year-end bonuses. And now you hit Henry and want to run away." Another team member, Sophia, crossed her arms, looking indignant. "That's right. You just hit Henry and then brought him medicine. You're taking advantage of his kindness, trying to make him let it go, aren't you?" I laughed. "If you're so concerned about him, why don't you go in and ask him yourself?" Sophia's face turned red. I knew that Henry wouldn't want to see her at this moment. "I'm James, the heir of Huanshan Group. I just returned to China 3 months ago after finishing my postgraduate studies abroad. Arranged by the HR department, I joined the project department as an intern." "James?" Henry looked at me, then at the resume in his hand. I casually pulled out a chair, crossed my legs and sat down. "Long time no see, senior." He lowered his head and smiled. "Good resume. Welcome to Huanshan Group." I smiled. "Anything you want to ask me?" Henry was 2 years ahead of me in school. In the 2 years after he graduated, he almost completely disappeared from my world. 2 years ago, I accidentally learned that he had joined Huanshan Group and was working as the general manager in the project department. I often anonymously sent gifts to his office. I also came back to the country and secretly met him, but I wouldn't pester him childishly like before. Henry didn't look at me. He put my resume into a folder. "I'll have Lucas, the team leader, take you under his wing and help you get used to the pace here soon. I've always been quite adaptable. No need to worry about that." I propped my chin with one hand and used the other to tug at his tie, pulling him closer to me. "I'd rather get used to your pace, senior." Henry's cheeks flushed rapidly. He yanked his tie back. "This is the company. Mind your image." With a smile on my lips, I stared straight at him. "The texture of this tie isn't so great. Is it that Huanshan Group's salary isn't enough? Or did you, senior, spend your money on things you shouldn't have?" I had made inquiries before joining Huanshan Group. After Henry graduated, his ex, William, went abroad to study. They were childhood friends and their families were of ordinary means. Henry covered all of William's expenses during his study abroad. 2 years ago, Henry took out a loan from the bank. That sum of money eventually ended up in the account of William's new company. However, I ran into William at a real estate tycoon's party, hanging on the arm of an older man. By then, he had already become a rising star in the tech world, and he and Henry had long since gone their separate ways. I guess William didn't pay Henry back that money, or maybe Henry didn't ask for it back. Henry, expressionless, pushed up his wire-rimmed glasses and said, "That's a personal question. I don't want to answer. You can leave now." He was as cold and heartless as ever. I was crazy about his cold and abstinent look. He must look even better when he cries. If it weren't for William, Henry would have been mine long ago. James, what are you spacing out for? Henry's clear voice pulled me back to reality. I came to my senses, put down my crossed legs, and stood up. I've reserved a private room for tonight's welcome party. Remember to be on time. Give me the receipt then, so I can reimburse you. I waved my hand. Nah, I'm not short of money. Henry probably won't come tonight, right? He usually doesn't attend this kind of event unless it's for business. I heard the gathering tonight was organized by the new intern. He seems to be quite wealthy. The sneakers he's wearing are a limited edition worldwide. Maybe they're knockoffs, just for show. The white t-shirt he's wearing looks no different from what an ordinary college student would wear, although he is really good looking. When James and Henry got close to the private room, they heard the conversation inside. If I hadn't staked out at the office door in advance, Henry probably really wouldn't have come. The Shin family has always been low-key. They don't know that I'm the future heir of the Huanshin group, not even Henry. I yanked open the door of the private room. The people inside fell silent instantly and looked over in unison. Henry, Lucas sensibly shifted his position. You sit in the middle. Make room for me too. James pushed Lucas aside and sat right next to Henry. You, forget it. I'll teach you the workplace rules another day. Lucas was quite tactful and walked to the other side on his own. Henry without glasses in private looks just like he did in his student days. His features are as beautiful as a painting, and his eyes are bright and expressive, like a clear spring. He looks like a uniform-clad temptation in a suit. So cute. I want to kiss him. Then came the ice-breaking part, truth or dare. The bottle pointed at Henry. He took a sip of his drink and said, Truth. Sophia tucked her long, falling hair behind her ears and looked at him shyly. Henry, do you have someone you like right now? Henry paused for a moment and replied, Yes. He and William have been broken up for so long. How could he still be thinking about him? I took a big gulp of ice wine, trying to suppress the sudden bitterness that filled my chest. In the next round, the bottle pointed at Henry again. Maybe he was afraid of being asked who the person he liked was. This time, he chose dare. Luna, who was sitting next to Sophia, glanced at Sophia and said, Kiss Sophia. The private room erupted instantly. Luna, you're so bold. It's rare for Henry to come to the event. Playing this big might not be appropriate, right? I unconsciously tightened my grip on the wine glass. That's not possible. Didn't he say he has someone he likes? How do you know if Henry likes Sophia or not? Luna was like a cat with its fur all fluffed up, as if she would show her sharp teeth and claws at me any second. I gave a bitter smile. Fine. Henry should be able to take it. If Henry doesn't care, why should I? Luna looked at Henry and suddenly wilted. I was just saying it casually. You can do as you like. Henry's brows knitted tightly. The next second, he suddenly turned my face towards him and gently pecked my lips. Seeing this, the others immediately started flattering. Henry, you're so broad-minded, so generous. Henry is so high and mighty. He's something else, using me to win people's favor. If you're gonna kiss, do it properly. What's this half-assed attempt? I just couldn't swallow this humiliation. In an instant, I pressed the back of Henry's head and gave him a passionate response. After a while, I let go of Henry, feeling satisfied. His face was flushed, and in a daze, he reached up to loosen his bow tie. The private room instantly boiled over again. You new intern, you're really something else. James, you're going too far, aren't you? Sophia suddenly stood up, her eyes wide as saucers. I'm going too far? You should take a look at who started this. I gave Henry a fierce glare. He seduced me. Henry didn't say anything, just took a big gulp of wine. The atmosphere was delicate. The others started playing on their own. After that, Henry started gulping down strong liquor, one mouthful after another. Could he be thinking about his damn ex again? I nudged him with my elbow and said, Drinking too much will hurt your stomach. He ignored me. Fine, I'll take care of him later. As I wished, I took the drunk Henry to the hotel. I untied his necktie and wrapped it around his wrist. I held his hands firmly above his head with one hand, so he couldn't move. I leaned close to his ear and asked, "Do you know who I am?" "William." I looked at Henry again. His eyes were tightly shut, and some tears were streaming down from the corners. "What a buzzkill. I'm not into being a stand-in." I untied the necktie from his hand and threw it on his face. I took out my phone and was about to find a designated driver to leave the hotel that night. But then I thought, wouldn't that be letting Henry off easy? Suddenly, an idea popped into my head. I placed several orders on the shopping platform for items that can be delivered within an hour. I've been following William's social media accounts for a long time. If I remember correctly, their last group photo was taken 4 years ago, right after they graduated. I took pictures of the maid outfit, bunny ears, fishnet stockings, and other little things that were about to be put on Henry, which were coming from the side, and sent them over. Then I added a group photo of me lying next to Henry, propping my head up with one hand. "Wanna see him in these?" "Not gonna show you. You went for that old guy, and now I've got the chance." "Serves you right." The next second, I got blocked, which means William has seen it, as long as it drives him crazy with curiosity. Henry was sleeping like a log, not reacting no matter how I moved him around. I put the maid outfit, bunny ears, fishnet stockings, etc., on Henry one by one, enjoying myself thoroughly. His sleeping face looked innocent and sexy. This is so torturous. The next day, in a daze, Henry's good-looking face gradually moved closer to me. He seemed to have kissed me. It must be a dream. I scratched my face and closed my eyes again. By the time I woke up, it was almost noon. "If you don't wake up soon, I'll have to extend the hotel room." Henry had already changed back into his suit and was tying his tie. "I kind of miss when you couldn't talk last night." I took out my phone to admire last night's masterpiece. "You even recorded a video?" Henry frowned and reached out to grab my phone. "It's no use even if you get it. I've already backed it up." "What did you do to me last night?" "James, I didn't expect you to have such a sick sense of humor." I gave a villainous smile. "I did everything I should have." Henry laughed, a look of mockery on his face. "Oh? How come I don't feel a thing?" I fell silent. I really didn't want to say that he had called out William's name last night. Damn it, what's so great about that guy? And you even have to pay for him. I stepped out of the bathroom and put my arm around Henry's shoulder. "You don't want anyone else to see these videos, do you?" His Adam's apple bobbed slightly, and the tips of his ears turned so red they seemed to be dripping blood. "What do you want? Go out with me." Under my coercion, Henry started a secret relationship with me. On the surface, we didn't get along. When Henry tried to pick up some food, I'd spin the Lazy Susan. When Henry grabbed the microphone, I'd switch the song. When Henry started talking, I'd start chatting with others. In private, we're actually quite in sync. During the morning rush hour when we were squeezed in the elevator, I'd secretly reach out and interlace my fingers with his. During meetings, I'd use my sneakers to rub some gray marks on the hem of his pants under the table. When he called me into his office to scold me, I'd pin him down and kiss him passionately. I'd also go to his apartment and get intimate with him, but we never went all the way. When Henry looked at me with his watery eyes, the image of him crying and calling out William's name would pop up in my mind. I'd push him away and go wash my face at the sink. He'd lean against the door frame and say, "James, are you impotent?" I'd laugh, pat his face, and say, "This is your punishment." And it was also my punishment. It wasn't my original intention to force him to be with me using underhanded methods. I wasn't sure, and I couldn't accept that there was someone else in Henry's heart. Half a month ago, William returned to the country with his team. He held a technology patent that the Huanshan Group was eager to acquire for a recent project, and Henry was in charge of this project. But even though Huanshan offered the highest price in the industry, William remained unmoved. Clearly, he was getting revenge. William is a strong-willed and decisive guy. You can tell from the way he started a business alone abroad. He's not easy to deal with. Enough. I don't want to hear any of it. I interrupted Henry, who was about to talk at length. They were both top students in college. Everyone praised them as the perfect partners, and said I was a stubborn and unreasonable hothead. As Henry and William met more frequently, I started to feel restless. What if they rekindled their old relationship? I regretted sending William the photo of Henry drunk. Last night, after Henry and William went to a business dinner, he didn't return to the apartment. When I called him, He said he was going back to the office to work overtime and wouldn't come back. I wanted to go and find him, but I was afraid of making a fool of myself in front of them. After all, I had used some tricks to get Henry to be with me. Maybe William is the one he truly desires. Finally, morning came. I immediately headed to William's company. Kid, you're quite something. Got into Huanshan as an intern and managed to get Henry. Ha! The crooked arc of William's mouth was full of provocation. His bloodshot eyes looked like he hadn't slept all night, and there was a crazy and fierce defiance in them directed at me. I tried hard to suppress the resentment in my heart. I'm here to talk business. I hope you can keep personal and business matters separate. What can an intern like you talk to me about? The current proposal price of Huanshan is 8% higher than the market price. If you still refuse, I can talk to your partner in the US. He surely won't turn down money. William snorted. Kid, don't bluff me. Do you think you can just meet my partner whenever you want? He leaned forward, his almond-shaped eyes looking at me menacingly. You know what? Henry got drunk at the party last night and begged me to get back together with him. I said it depended on his performance. He was crying under me last night, saying he missed me so much and never wanted to leave me again. Furious, I immediately punched William. A streak of blood instantly appeared at the corner of his mouth. William wiped the corner of his mouth and laughed. Treating a client like this, you're going to get fired. His assistant rushed over and asked if he wanted to call the police. No need. He stood up, straightened his clothes, and a hint of malice flashed in his eyes as he stared at me. I'll wait for Henry to come and clean up your mess. I was blinded by anger. My mind was filled with what William had just said. I arrived downstairs of the company. I entered a convenience store and randomly picked up a box of condoms that were always placed next to the cash register. James, are you out of your mind? Skipping work is bad enough, but why did you go and beat up a major client? As soon as I entered the office floor, Lucas rushed up to me and scolded. Unfortunately, I just couldn't listen. I entered Henry's office and locked the door behind me. Henry looked at me in disbelief. I was just about to look for you. Why on earth did you suddenly go and punch William? What? Feeling sorry for him, his face darkened, but then he took my hand and blew on it. Did it hurt? Don't be so impulsive in the future. If you offend William, forget about getting a permanent position. You might even have to leave Huanshan. I yanked my hand back, clenched my fist, and said, Henry, you didn't go back to the apartment after last night's business dinner. Were you begging him to get back together with you? Henry shot up to his feet. James, are you out of your mind? I stepped closer to him, pushing him against the desk. Then where were you last night when you didn't come home? Last night William insisted on sending me back. I didn't want him to know where I lived, so I thought I'd come back to the company to deal with some things first. But he waited for me downstairs, so I had to stay here for the night. I was stunned. You don't think about William anymore. He smiled softly, cupping my face in his hands. Why would I think about him? What did he say to you this morning? I said pitifully. He said you got drunk last night, begged him to get back together, and cried under him. Stop. Henry covered my mouth. You've been fooled by William. I've never been with him, so where's the talk of getting back together? I was stunned and moved his hand away. Weren't you together in college? Henry turned his face away, his lowered eyelashes hiding his eyes. That was a lie. I was straight back then. You were just too passionate, and I couldn't handle it. Suddenly, I thought of something, and a pang of bitterness welled up in my heart. Then, at the bar before, you said you had someone you liked. Who was it? You. I was even more confused. When did it start? Henry lowered his head and thought. Can't remember. A long time ago, I guess. How long ago? You're pulling my leg, aren't you? He suddenly reached out and hung his arm around my neck. James, you think I didn't know those gifts that were often anonymously sent to my office were from you? I'm a regular guy with emotions. I can fall for you too. The moment I heard Henry's confession, my rationality crumbled. I quickly took off Henry's wire-rimmed glasses. The scent of mint and cedar overwhelmed my senses. James, this is the office. Henry grabbed my hand. It's okay. I locked the door. I'm not ready yet. Henry's cheeks suddenly flushed, turning bright red. Honey, you're so cute. Don't call me that. I'm your boss. Not for long. Give me some time. I'll figure out a way to protect you. There's no need. Being an intern has been really frustrating for me. Bang! The potted flowering cactus on the desk accidentally fell, making a clear cracking sound. Someone was turning the doorknob and knocking on the door at the same time. James, calm down. Don't get rough with Henry. The secretary's extension landline rang. Henry, are you okay? Should we call the police? Henry struggled to pick up the landline. No, I'm fine. Everyone, just go. The phone was quickly hung up. James, Henry softly called my name over and over again. All the past unfulfilled obsessions turned into tenderness and fulfillment at this moment, pouring into the depths of the soul. I left Henry's office. As I walked in the corridor of the office building, people talked without any scruple. James stormed into the office just now. Did they fight in there? I went in to deliver documents and found Henry's eyes red from crying. Henry is so pitiful. Having a subordinate like James must be really tough. He even hit a client. Is he about to get fired? Hitting William is true. Hitting Henry? I couldn't bear to do that. I just made him cry. My wife looks so cute when she cries. After going back to the office and calming Henry down, I contacted William's partner, Liam Gray. Liam Gray and I are classmates and friends, both for business and personal reasons. He won't turn down a deal that's above the market price. In the evening, I went to Henry's apartment. I pinned him down on the bed and questioned him. Honey, is it true that you said you've never been with William during the day? Yeah. Could you stop calling me that? Honey, you've made me suffer so much. I've been waiting for you for 4 years. I never thought of turning gay before. Great. I turned the senior gay. Henry blushed, his Adam's apple rolling with difficulty. James, don't you have your own home? Why do you always come to mine? It's more free here. Call me hubby. I can't say it. Then I'll punish you with a French kiss. The next day at noon, when I showed up at the project department in a suit and tie, everyone except Henry was stunned. The new intern is actually the new CEO? What kind of TV drama is this? It's understandable for young people to get some grassroots experience. He should experience how hard we work. There's going to be some juicy gossip in the project department. Wonder if anyone has offended him. Entering Henry's office for the nth time. Honey, why aren't you surprised at all? I sat down on the sofa, looking relaxed. Henry smiled slightly. I've known about it for 2 years. It was your mother who had a headhunter recruit me into the company. I immediately put down my crossed legs. What? TSK. Felt like I'd been set up. I walked behind Henry and hugged him from behind. So, honey, have you just been playing house with me all this time? Henry struggled a bit and then gave up. Not really. I got paid and was just doing my job as usual. Honey, you're so mean. I turned Henry's chin towards me and planted a passionate kiss on him. James, I've got something important to do later. What is it? William is sick. He asked me to go to the hotel and get the contract signed. Don't go. Just ask Lucas to take it there. I lowered my head and nuzzled his ear. Honey, you smell so good. Henry turned around in my arms, gently caressing my face with one hand. Don't worry. Let me go and talk things out with him. And by the way, I'll ask him to pay me back. Then I'm coming with you. As soon as we knocked on the hotel door, William immediately came to greet us. He was wearing a deep V bathrobe, and water droplets were still trickling from his head down to his chest. Such a phony. Although he was somewhat good-looking, compared to me, he was still a bit lacking. When William saw me, his face fell instantly. Why is he here too? Don't think I don't know what you're up to. Come over and sign the contract right now. I put my arm around Henry, pushed William aside, and walked straight in. William's voice was hoarse. Henry, can't we talk alone? No, I said impatiently. William's brows knitted into a tight knot. James, don't go too far. I was around long before you were even born when we were kids wearing the same open crotch pants. Pulling rank. Huh? So it was you who wanted to get back together. You really deserved that beating I gave you before. If you hadn't mentioned it, I almost forgot I was going to hold you legally accountable. You two cut it out. James, let us talk alone. Go wait for me in the guest bedroom first. Okay, I'll do as my wife says. Before leaving, I glanced at William, whose expression looked like he was constipated. As soon as the door of the guest bedroom closed, I pressed myself against it. I definitely had to hear what they were talking about. William, Sign the contract first. A few seconds later, Henry, did you choose him because he's the heir of Huanshan? Actually, not long after we pretended to be a couple, I started to regret it. I was just being stubborn and didn't face my true feelings at that time. Until you confessed to me before you went abroad, all I could think about was James. I wondered if he was pestering someone else. I guess I've changed my sexual orientation. Stop. We grew up together. Didn't anything I did for you ever touch your heart? William continued, his voice on the verge of tears. I used to think James was disgusting. I'm straight, and I would never have those dirty thoughts about you. But later, I realized I wasn't. Took me a lot of courage to confess to you. If you had gone abroad with me to start a business, maybe we'd still be the perfect partners now. Henry chuckled. You're wrong. James is bright and unrestrained. He's not what you think. When you took the first step towards me, he had already taken 100 steps. Also, if you had really cared back then, you should have let me invest instead of lending me money. I thought about it, and since I didn't contribute, I really shouldn't share your achievements. Oh, by the way, can you pay me back now? Henry, is that how you think of me? The two of them stopped talking. Can I come out now? I'm so anxious. So my wife had a crush on me that early. Okay, the money has been transferred. James, coming. My wife finally called me, looking at William's dejected look. I had nothing to say, but when we got to the door, he stopped us. Henry, can we still be friends? Sure, we'll be great business partners in the future. I didn't understand. Business partners is fine, but why great ones? Your CEO position isn't secure yet. Let's just keep him steady for now. My wife is the best. Give me a kiss. From Henry's perspective, 4 years ago, I had just reached the library entrance when it started pouring outside. I opened my umbrella, and a tall figure brushed past me. He stood straight as a ramrod, hands in his pockets, and walked fearlessly into the wind and rain. I stepped forward. Classmate, share the umbrella. You'll catch a cold in the rain. He looked at me, the corners of his mouth curving slightly. Thanks, senior. You know me? A lot of girls in the class talk about you. It's hard not to know you. This was the truth. Let me do it. He snatched the umbrella from my hand. The guy was half a head taller than me, around 190 centimeters tall by my estimate. His attitude was friendly, yet he gave me a strong sense of pressure that brooked no refusal. I assumed this direction was towards the cafeteria. When we got to the cafeteria, he followed me to get utensils and stand in line. He watched how I swiped my meal card. It was as if he'd never been here before. He frowned and put the food into his mouth. Is it that bad? No, just not used to it. Finally, when we got back to the dormitory entrance, he didn't seem to intend to return the umbrella to me. Senior, can you lend me the umbrella? But we're already back at the dorm, aren't we? He smiled and said, I don't live in the dorm. Can I add you on WeChat? It'll be convenient to repay you later. I reluctantly took out my phone. James, Henry, the other guy started chatting with me off and on. Turns out he was a freshman. To show his gratitude, he wanted to treat me to a meal. First, I turned him down, but he kept sending me messages without getting tired of it. You can't expect me to transfer money to you, can you? To be honest, I'd be happier if he could transfer money directly. I couldn't refuse his kind offer. Eventually, I asked William to accompany me to the appointment. Following the location James sent me, William and I arrived at a high-end apartment near the school. It was a large flat in the city center that James' family had bought for him, so he was a rich second generation. James twitched his lips. Who is he? My childhood friend, William. We're in the same major but different classes. I have to say, it was the first time I'd ever entered such a mansion. We're all students, but some of them are already at the peak. After James' nanny prepared the meal for him, she greeted us and then left. The meal was eaten in a rather constrained manner. William exchanged polite remarks with James, saying, Thanks, bro, for the kind invitation. It's really an eye-opener for us. But James didn't seem to appreciate it. He just said indifferently, Eat. Nobody said a word throughout the meal. The atmosphere was strange. After they were full and had enough to drink, William went into the restroom. James took out his phone and pressed it a couple of times. Then he sat down next to me and said, "Next time you want to invite others over, could you ask me first? Are you blaming me?" "Yeah. Why can't the door be opened?" William's voice suddenly came from the bathroom. "James, what's wrong with this door? That's really strange." I looked at James. He just stared at me without saying a word. This feeling, so weird. "What's going on?" "I just want to be alone with you. Don't bring him next time." I was completely confused. James had a cold expression on his face. He picked up his phone and tapped it a couple more times. The bathroom door swung open in an instant. James had a smart home control system on his phone. But why would he do such a thing? Was he trying to show off? A person like him isn't someone I'd consider befriending. I left in a hurry with William. I forgot to ask James for the umbrella I'd given him before. Oh well, it's just an umbrella. Day after day, James would actively invite me to go to the library, play ball, or play games with him. I didn't really feel like dealing with him. I have a habit of going to the school swimming pool in the evening, but I'd always run into James there. It was strange. Why would a rich second-generation kid leave his private pool at home and come squeeze into the public pool with us poor students? Until I noticed, more and more girls came to the pool to see James, and then I realized, he's young, and it's normal for him to like attracting the attention of the opposite sex. Even though it didn't seem like something a cold-blooded person like him would do. That night, I went to the school swimming pool as usual. After changing my clothes and getting ready to head back, I was stopped by James, who followed right behind me. He pinned me against the locker, looking at me resentfully. "Senior, in such a hurry to go back. Where are you off to?" "Back to the dorm." He pulled off the bath towel wrapped around his upper body. There were red bumps all over it. "Help me, I can't reach my back." I hesitated for a moment. He didn't turn around in satisfaction until I took the ointment he handed me. "You're allergic. Why are you still swimming here?" "To see you, of course." "To see me? Why would he want to see me? What kind of tricks are these rich kids up to every day?" "Okay, you can do the front part yourself." James turned around, staring at me brazenly. "Since you've already started, I don't want to get my hands dirty. Please continue." So pampered. If he's so precious, he should just stay at home. My fingertips rubbed against James' taut muscles. This feeling, so strange. "Senior, why is your hand shaking?" "No way. Missed it. Go a little lower." The more I tried to regulate my breathing, the more erratic it became. "Why is my face suddenly burning?" "Does your hand shake like this when you're coding?" "Senior." James suddenly leaned down close to my ear. "Your face is all red. Do it yourself." I handed the ointment back, but he grabbed my wrist and wouldn't let go. "It seems like you really don't like me, Senior. Did I do something wrong?" The classmates passing by looked at us with strange looks, which made me feel really uncomfortable. "Let go first." "No. If I do, you'll run away." There was that invisible sense of pressure again. I got really annoyed. "What do you mean? How have I offended you?" James furrowed his brows tightly. "Can't you see it that clearly? Of course I like you, Senior." I was completely stunned. "Is he gay?" I subconsciously swallowed hard and said, "We're from different worlds." He looked at me firmly, let go of my hand, and said, "I'll step into your world." I didn't even dare to look back and rushed out of the swimming pool. I never expected James was actually gay. James launched a fierce pursuit of me. He always gave me expensive gifts. If I refused to accept them, he'd say he'd throw them away. He'd create all kinds of chance encounters. He'd also wait for me openly in the classroom or at the internship place. Senior year was coming to an end, and graduation was just around the corner. William gave me an idea: to pretend to be his girlfriend. We took a photo in the library, our hands tightly clasped on a book, and then posted it on Moments. As we walked out of the library entrance, big raindrops pounded on the bluestone slabs, and the rain curtain was like a veil. Someone was walking towards us, against the light, through the pouring rain curtain. It was James. His eyes were cold. "Is it real?" "Yeah." I kept a poker face, not wanting to give him even a glimmer of hope. James gritted his teeth, his brows knitted into deep furrows. Suddenly, he raised his hand and stuffed the umbrella handle into my hand. "Here you are." He turned around, and his white shirt was instantly soaked by the rain. Suddenly, a question popped into my mind. Before he turned around, were those drops beneath his bloodshot eyes rain or tears? James, still with his back straight, slowly faded into the rain curtain. What's this guy up to? Playing the victim? Is he shooting a soap opera or something? William squeezed in and grabbed the hand I was using to hold the umbrella. Let's go back, he said. I instinctively pulled my hand back, my throat tightening. This umbrella was mine in the first place. I said, what? Then why is he only giving it back to you now? I couldn't pay attention to what William said next at all. I just felt really stuffy inside. This rainy day is so annoying. James didn't show up on graduation day. I felt a bit disappointed. Over a month later, William confessed his love to me before he went abroad. I finally get how James felt now. It's okay. I'll wait for you. Why does everyone seem to like me? I'm straight, for crying out loud. I wonder if James is pestering someone else now. I regret it. Maybe I'm not that straight after all. My life has been pretty peaceful during these 2 years of my internship. I lost touch with James. By this time, he should have graduated. Oh well, I never look back. One day, a headhunter offered me a high-paying job at Confronting Group. Oh my, what a handsome young man. No wonder my son likes you. Auntie, who are you? I'm the one who hired the headhunter. My husband is the largest shareholder of Confronting Group, and James is my son. I said that God gave me an obedient husband and an excellent son. It's like our ancestors accumulated virtue. But who knew my son turned out to be gay? To be honest with you, although my son has been going to school as usual these 2 years, I always feel he's been gloomy. I looked into it, and the problem is you. I smiled helplessly. What does that have to do with me? Don't play dumb. He must have been rejected by you. That's why. This must be God's punishment for me staying up late watching gay stuff. The exquisitely dressed and plump woman in front of me folded her hands, rested her chin on the back of her hand, and looked at me pleadingly. I've made up my mind. I'll get you into Confronting, and you can talk some sense into my son. Then he can go abroad to study in peace. He's the heir of the group, and he still needs to improve himself. Auntie, are you serious? Of course. My son takes after me in this regard, being straightforward. I don't mind if you marry into our family. I'll have another handsome son, and I won't lose out. I unconsciously bit my lip. I've investigated. You have younger siblings at home, and my son is an only child. He can't marry into your family, can he? Seeing that I didn't say anything, she crossed her arms. The project department director will retire in 2 years. If you come, that position will be yours. Don't you care about your future? I held back the bitterness welling up in my throat. Do I deserve it? Do I deserve you treating me like this? A heart's desire is priceless. My son is head over heels for you, and I like you too. Let's call it a deal. We'll arrange for the handover with HR later. 2 years passed. During that time, I thought I was hallucinating. On holidays and festivals, I'd catch a glimpse of James out of the corner of my eye. But when I looked closer, he was gone. Until James joined the project department as an intern. This time, I was certain. I had strong feelings for him. James said my tie lacked quality. It's all William's fault for not paying me back. I figured it was time to spend some money to upgrade my taste. Otherwise, I wouldn't be good enough for James. On the night of the welcome party, I kept wondering how to get William to pay me back soon. James actually took a video of my silly antics and blackmailed me into dating him. Well, might as well play along. But we never got to the final step. I asked him if he was impotent. He said it was punishment for me. I was frustrated. I'm not in a rush either. The top hunters often appear in the guise of prey. I can't let my aloof persona crumble. Unfortunately, William came back to the country with his tech patents. It's exactly the project that Confronting needs to secure. To help James settle firmly in the Confronting group, we must win this project. William kept making excuses, again and again. Every time we had business dinners, he'd always dodge the topic. He also said that he'd already made it big and asked me to go abroad with him to develop our careers. I refused. I already have James. William insisted on sending me back. I didn't want him to know where I lived, so I had to let him send me back to the company and deal with some work by the way. James called me and asked when I'd be back. I looked out through the French window. Under the streetlight, William was still there. So I had to tell James that I wouldn't be back for the moment. I don't know how long it took, but I fell asleep. The next day, I got word that James had beaten up William. Just as I was about to look for James, he stormed in, fuming. After talking things out with William, he returned the money to me. We're even now, and he's still my childhood friend. And as for James and me, there will be a new beginning.